Hey everyone, I'm PJ Schwartz, and today Todd Withers is with me. He's our eSignifi lead architect. I've asked Todd to show us how to use eSignifi to send a non-disclosure agreement to DocuSign for signature from ServiceNow. Want to take it away, Todd?
Yep. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to show sending a non-disclosure agreement from ServiceNow. We're going to be using a tool called eSignifi to integrate ServiceNow with DocuSign. So what is eSignifi? Well, it's a ServiceNow store app that simply establishes a connection between ServiceNow and DocuSign and handles the two-way communication between the two systems. It is a ServiceNow store app, as I said. It's certified by both vendors and currently available for Madrid, New York, and Orlando. One of the key concepts in eSignifi is what's called an eSignifi map. An eSignifi map sits in between ServiceNow and DocuSign and really routes the data back and forth between the two systems. So in ServiceNow, we have tables and catalog items, and in DocuSign, we have templates, and an eSignifi map sits right in between. And it takes things like attachments and people records and other data fields out of ServiceNow and pushes them over into DocuSign as documents, signers, and fields in DocuSign. And when the signature process is complete, it pulls back that data, the signed documents, the certificate of completion, and data field updates, and pushes those back into ServiceNow as attachments and data updates. So it really handles all of that data transformation back and forth between the two systems. And we're going to see that as we look at the demo. Okay, demo time. So I'm going to switch over to ServiceNow here. This is the ServiceNow vendor screen. I would like to send a non-disclosure agreement from this screen to LongNet Consulting. This is a consulting company that we want to work with, but we need a non-disclosure agreement in place before we do that. So right now, I don't have an easy way to do it. The one thing I have on my side is in DocuSign, we've created a nice non-disclosure template. Let me give you a quick look at that. I'm going to switch over to DocuSign here. If you haven't used templates in DocuSign, I encourage you to look at them. They're really great. And in this case, I'm going to bring up our boilerplate NDA template and give you a peek at it. The template's pretty straightforward. It has a place for a GNC person to sign and a vendor to sign. And then it has a boilerplate non-disclosure agreement that we're going to send out. Other videos, we show you how to send out very customized documents, but this is an example of a boilerplate document. It's pretty cool. So you'll see it's just boilerplate non-disclosure language with some fields in here that we can use to fill in the name and address of the vendor that we're signing the NDA with. If we scroll through, the rest of this is just boilerplate language, and down at the bottom we have a place for both people to sign, both the general networks person as well as the vendor. Okay, so that's what our template looks like. And so the question is, how can we get from this vendor screen here in ServiceNow and use that template? And the answer is an eSignifi map. So I'm going to take off my end user hat for a moment and become the ServiceNow administrator by switching over to the eSignifi portal. The eSignifi portal is an administrative tool that allows you to set up maps between ServiceNow and DocuSign. So in my case, I want to set up a map between the company table and that DocuSign template that you saw a moment ago. So I'm going to go to Maps. I'm going to click Create from Table, and this is going to bring up all of the tables in ServiceNow that I can connect to. In my case, I want to connect to the core company table. Right there, I'm going to click on Create New Map. And this is going to bring up the map editor. So I'm going to give my map a name. I'm going to call it NDA. And I'm going to choose that template that you saw just a moment ago. So right here in ServiceNow, we can choose the DocuSign template, and that's going to recognize all of the information inside that DocuSign template and bring that into the eSignifi map editor. I'm going to make some changes here. I won't talk about it in too much detail. It's going to create a button. I'm going to call it Send NDA so the user knows, they can send out a non-disclosure agreement. I'm just going to specify a couple of flags here. I'm going to turn on embedded sending. When it downloads the final signed document at the end, I'm going to call it a signed NDA like that. I'm going to map the two recipients, so the GNC signatory as well as the vendor signatory. On the GNC side, I'm going to map it to our department head. Over here is a field picker that shows all the ServiceNow fields that are available in the underlying table, in this case, the core company table. I'm going to drag the department head over like that. Then I have a vendor that I want to send it to, so I'm going to drag over the vendor contact name and email address. So now it's going to go out to those two people. The last thing I need to do is map those data fields. So these are the text fields that were in that template. So you can see over here, it's recognized all of those fields that are really the name and address of the vendor. So all I have to do to map these is just drag a ServiceNow field over into the right. So again, from the field picker, I'm going to drag the city, the state, the street address, the vendor's name, and the zip code. And that automatically then is going to take these data elements from ServiceNow and push them up to DocuSign when the user uses this button that we created right here. Okay, I think that's all I need to do with this. So I'm just going to hit save here. And my job as an administrator is done at this point. And so what I'm going to do is let me switch back into the platform, the ServiceNow platform here. And I'm going to go ahead and refresh this screen. And what you're going to see is now I have a new button that shows. And this button shows on every vendor screen now. So no matter what vendor you're looking at, you'll have this Send NDA button that allows you to send a non-disclosure agreement for whatever vendor that is. Well, let's see the effect if we click on it here. Click on Send NDA. This is going to bring up, it's going to create the envelope in DocuSign, actually bring it up right inside the ServiceNow frame so I can take a look at it before it actually goes out. And you can see this is the template we looked at just a moment ago, but now it's filled in the name and address of the particular vendor that we were just looking at. So if I scroll down here, everything looks pretty good and this looks ready to go. So all I have to do as an end user, just click on send right there. And I've sent out my agreement. It's just that easy to send a non-disclosure agreement. I'm going to go ahead and follow this through for the rest of the process here and sign it as the two signers. Before I do, though, let me show you this right here. Well, oftentimes it's really important for the person that sent out an NDA to know what's going on. And from right here inside the platform, I can click on DocuSign envelope status, and I can see that I have a non-disclosure agreement that's gone out to Todd Withers and Janice Farrow, and it's waiting for their signature. And anytime the submitter can come back in here and take a look and see what's going on and know if there's a holdup, who the holdup is being caused by. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to switch over to Todd's email. You'll see Todd has received a notification from DocuSign. This is just a standard DocuSign notification. And if I click on this, it's going to take me to the DocuSign signing experience right here. You'll see my non-disclosure agreement with the fields filled in. And if I move down to the bottom here, there's a place for me to sign. I'll click on finish. Okay, so now that's Todd as the department head's signature is done. Matter of fact, I'll just switch back into the platform here to kind of show you how if I click on the envelope status again here, you'll see that it's keeping track of things. I may have to wait just a moment. This is using a technology from DocuSign called DocuSign Connect. And DocuSign is constantly updating ServiceNow with the status of the various signers. You can see it shows that Todd has now signed. Okay. I'm going to switch over and sign for Janice right here. Janice has received a similar notification. I'll click on Review Document. I'll do this quickly because it's just what you saw. This is just the counter signature. Sign here at the bottom and click Finish. Okay, and now both signatures are complete. And so now if we go back in here and look at envelope status, you'll see in just a moment here that it'll mark Janice's signature as complete as well. And I might have to talk just a little bit slowly for that to come up. And voila, the envelope is completed. And as a matter of fact, if we refresh the screen here, the vendor screen, you'll see we now have a signed NDA attached right here. And if I click on that, you'll see the signed NDA with both signatures at the bottom, as well as the DocuSign certificate of completion attached at the end, which is an optional thing that you can download. Really kind of nice. It's what makes those signatures legally binding. And that's really the end of the process. And it's really just that easy administratively to create a map between ServiceNow and DocuSign that allows you to send non-disclosure agreements. And as I said, this is now available on any vendor screen. So we did it for Longneck, but if we wanted to send out a non-disclosure agreement for Caltech, we have the button there. So that's now available on every vendor screen, no matter what it is. So that's as easy as it is. PJ, how about back to you?
Thanks, Todd. That was great. My contact information is up here on the screen, so if anyone would like to get started or discuss further, feel free to reach out to me by email or phone. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.